All right, fifth graders, welcome back. We've been working a lot with multiplication lately, and I want you to take a look at the board here. We have a problem that's stating that we have a Ferris wheel, and that Ferris wheel completes one full rotation in 53 seconds. So they want to know how many seconds in all it would take to complete 8 rotations. So I know one time is 53. So the second time be another 53 and the third time and so forth, but they want 8 times. So when I'm looking at this problem, I always underline what do they want me to find out. They want me to know how many seconds in all it's going to take. I also look at the important information. I know that one of them will take 53 seconds, and I know they want me to find 8 times that goes around. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to set it up as a traditional multiplication model and find my answer. So if I follow this process, I'm going to take my 8 times 3, which is 24. Remember, you take your tens digit, move it up top. I've got 8 groups of 5. I know that 8 groups of 5 or 8 times 5 is 40, but then I have 2 more for 42. So it's going to take 424 seconds in order for that Ferris wheel to go around 8 times if it goes 53 seconds per time. Let's take a look at the next problem we have here. A small dairy farm produces 87 gallons of milk per day. How many gallons will it produce in 15 days? So they want to know how many gallons is going to produce in 15 days. So I need to go back and look at what important information do I have. I know that it has 87 gallons in one day, and I know that I'm working off of 15 days. So I can either take 87 plus 87 plus 87 plus 87 for 15 different groups, or I can use repeated addition by multiplying it. And we can follow the traditional algorithm or the traditional method of multiplication. I'm going to start by multiplying 15 by 7. So really what I'm doing here is I'm going to take my 5 times my 87 and my 10 times my 87 and add my 2 partial products. So I have 5 times 7, which I know is 35. And bring my tens digit over. I know that 5 times 8 is 40, and I have 3 more, which would be 43. Now, if you remember from the other day when we were multiplying, if we're going to the tens digit, we need to make sure we put our answer in the tens digit. So a lot of times we're going to put a 0 here to hold our place. Some people will put an X there. And I like to cross off this number from the first set when I was multiplying 87 times 5 so that I don't get confused with that later on and make a mistake. So I have 1 times 7, which is 7, 1 times 8, which is 8. Now I can add my 2 partial products to figure out how many gallons I would have in that 15-day span. 5 plus 0, 7 plus 3 is 10. 4 plus 8 is 12, and 1 more makes 13 for 1,305 gallons in that 15-day span. Sometimes you might have a situation like this. If we go down to our auditorium, we wanted to know the seating capacity. If we're going to have like a music concert or something in there, we want to know how many seats we have available for families. Well, in our auditorium, we have 25 rows of seats, and each row has 95 seats. What would be the total number of seating available that we would have for families? So if we look at that, I've got 95 would be an important number. I know I've got 25 rows. So instead of adding 95 plus 95 plus 95 and doing that 25 times, I can just multiply that. using our traditional algorithm where I'm going to take my 5 times 95 first, then my 20 times 95 and add my two partial products. So 5 times 5 I know is 25. 5 times 9 is 45, and 2 more would be 47. I'm going to cross that one off. And remember, now that we're in the tens digit, we need to start our answer in the tens place. Otherwise, our numbers aren't going to be lined up and we're going to make a crucial error here. So let's put a 0 there to hold our place. We have 2 tens times 5, or 2 times 5, which would be 10. Carry my 1 10 up here. 2 times 9 is 18. And 1 more makes 19. Now when I add my two partial products, 9 plus 4 is 13. Carry my 1. I would have 2,375. I look back, what are they asking me? They're asking me how many total seats I have. So I have 2,375 total seats in our auditorium. Sometimes you might be faced with a situation like this where they say a distilled water supplier supplies 55 jugs of water per day to a local company. How many jugs would it sell in a typical year? So I want to know how many jugs they're going to sell in a year. Well, the only information I have is this, and that it's a year. So I need to be thinking something. And I know some of you are probably saying, well, Mr. G, there's 365 days in a year. And you are correct on that. In a typical year, there's 365 days. So I have 365 days in which they're selling 55 jugs per day, or 365 groups of 55. So I'm going to need multiplication in order to solve this problem. And if we follow that traditional algorithm again, 5 times 5, 25. 6 times 5 is 30, and 2 more makes 32. 5 times 3 is 15, and 3 more, 16, 17, 18. Now, remember, it's always important to either erase or cross off those numbers so the next time through, we don't make a mistake by actually adding those in when we shouldn't be. We're going to put our placeholder here because remember, we're in the tens place. So we want to make sure our first answer to our product goes down there in the right place value. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry my 2 up here. 5 times 6 is 30. 31, 32. Carry my 3. 15, 16, 17, 18 again. Now, if you look, same pattern, and that's because we're taking 5 times 365. The next round, we're taking 50 times 365, but we still have the same numbers that we're going to be multiplying. We're still multiplying 5 times everything. So if you look at the pattern 1825, 1825, you're going to have a lot of the same products here, except the place value has changed. It's not 5, it's 50 times 365. That's why everything's slid over. So you need that placeholder to make sure you're adding the correct partial products here. We have 8 plus 2 is 10. We have 8 plus 1 is 9, and 1 more makes 10. And we have 2. So 20,075 jugs or gallons of distilled water per year that they're selling to that local company. Now, today in your bundle, you're going to have an assignment in which you have several problems like this, where you're going to have various levels of multiplying, where you might have a 2-digit by a 1-digit multiplication problem. You might have a 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication problem, or you might even have a 3-digit by 2-digit multiplication problem. So look in your bundle, you'll have a sheet that has the math problems like that. When you're finished, have your parents check it over by looking at the answer key in the back of your bundle. And that way they can work with you on any errors or problems you might be having. And then contact me if you have any questions.